Did you know you can use this tape to hem and finish things professionally? Bias tape is really versatile and useful, and you can use it to hem and finish all the insides of almost anything, from toiletry bags to handbags, garments, or even things for the home. You can use it and it gives you a really professional look, really polished and nice. Of course, you can get it in any color imaginable, you can get it in different widths and in any fabric, because this one, for example, is made out of satin. But what's important is how it's made. The thing is that it's made out of strips of fabric that have been later, after sewing them together to make a long tape, then they are folded, they are pressed so they look like a window. And this is where you insert your fabric, the finish you want to get, that's where it goes. So then you can fold it and sew on top. So your raw edge stays in there and you don't have to hem, for example, thicker fabrics or things that are a bit more difficult to finish. It's so useful. Well, bias tape is so flexible, and the name of it, bias tape, gives you a hint of where it comes from. Fabrics have grain, which is the meters you buy, which is parallel to your salvage edge. Then they have cross grain, which is the width of the roll of fabric, and then they have the bias. And when you cut on the bias, look how elastic this is, how flexible. This is where the bias tape comes from. They are strips of fabric that have been cut on the bias diagonally to the fabric, so they get all that elasticity from it, and that's why it's really good for hemming stuff and finishing little bags and handbags, because it's all flexible. So you can even hem something round that it won't lose its shape, it won't get any wrinkles, you won't have any problem sewing it. You'll just have to follow your edge. And knowing how to make it, how it's cut diagonally, and how you can fold it and press it and use it like that, you can make your own bias tape. If you have an excess amount of fabric, because cutting diagonally means you're going to waste or use more fabric than needed, once you get your salvage edge located, you just have to fold diagonally, and look how much more stretchy this is. It's really stretchy. So cutting this diagonally, then fold it and press, you get your bias tape. There are even accessories that make you in different widths, and you insert your strip of fabric and it folds it for you, and you can just press it once it comes out and you have your bias tape. I haven't got any of those. It has to go in my wish list. And not only for lining stuff, you can finish different things. You can finish zips, you can finish little toiletry bags, little pencil cases, or handbags and decorative stuff. For example, little plant pots as well as garments. There are really nice patchwork jackets, it's in my list as well, that are hemmed all around with bias tape, and it looks really nice and colorful in a contrasting color. I love it. And how to sew bias tape? It's really easy, and the most simple method is that you just get to your project, you fold it on top of the edge you want it to sew on, and just sew it on top. You can of course make sure it doesn't move by pinning it or basting it, but that will be the easiest way. And then there's a more polished way if you don't want any seams to be seen, if you want everything hidden, if you're making a more polished garment like a coat or a neckline, something different. So you will just have to, you have to open your bias tape and place it on top of your project on the edge you're going to sew, right sides together, and start sewing on the first folded edge. And once that is done, you are going to wrap it as you would and then sew on the other side. And if you don't want any seams, you will have to do it by hand. It's more work, but depending on the project, it will look really good. For example, for the lining of this handbag, I want to finish these raw edges, and to make it properly like that, I will want to go around and measure, which is 90 centimeters, and that way I can do it all at once. And how do we sew bias tape together? Imagine you want to do, for example, a circle, or you want to measure something for a project and you don't want any step at the end, you want it nicely finished, so you will have to make a circle of bias tape. And for that, you can't just sew it right sides together, because when you open it, you're going to have a straight seam that then once folded is going to be really bulky. You don't want that. You want it smooth. So the way to do it is, when with your bias tape open, you're going to place it perpendicular to each other. This way, when you sew it, it's going to look much nicer. And you're going to sew it diagonally. And then once you open it, it's going to look like a triangle when you fold. So it's not going to be straight, it's not going to be bulky at all, it's going to be nice and smooth and really easy to sew. And having made both of the sides of this lining for this handbag, I have to say that from the two of them, of course, the second one is the better. When you finish it, the first one, just start sewing your strip of bias tape, and that's it. It's quite difficult to manage it because you are folding and sewing at the same time, and it moves, so it's a bit challenging. And the second one, when you open it, sew a first row of seam and then fold again. That second fold just falls on top of your edge and it doesn't move. It just goes with the shape, and it's amazing how easy it is to sew on top because you don't have to do anything. And between finishing at the end or finishing before starting sewing, it's better the second option because you can see it. On the first one, you get a step that you see, but on the second one, I almost couldn't find it because it's like the edge it's like the seam that comes with the rest of the pack. So it's really nice and it is worth doing it. And in the same way, with the second option, you can hem different types of coats, you can hem trousers by just sewing and folding to the inside, so that way you don't see any raw edges and it's hidden. It gives the garment stability and you don't get any raw edges that can cause any trouble in the future. Well, bias tape is just ideal for any kind of project, any hemming you want to do, any lining, or to give your project a nice finish touch. So let me know that in the comments how you use your bias tape, if you like using it, or what other tips you have for this community, because it's really interesting when you leave tips down here. We all learn. I'm the first one who is still learning, so let me know that in the comments what you thought, if you like it, and don't forget to subscribe and to share the video with someone who might enjoy it, because there's a lot coming. I'll see you around. Bye.